right. All right, we need to pull up the bottom of a report. I guess I can do that.
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, we're not in public comment right now. So it's just LNC members.
Carlos has left the meeting.
Thank you. All right. All right, waiting on people to join. Mr. Malagon, can you please email me the most recent version?
It was the one that went out to, I can do that right now. Hold on.
I want to make sure I'm sharing it correctly.
Whoops.
What I had red letters in it.
Oh yeah, that's not the good one.
If we're back in the public meeting, it's not being recorded. Thank you.
Sent, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right. Resume
Recording in progress.
Okay. Is this thing still confidential?
The report until it's adopted, Madam Chair, is correct.
Okay.
So just the only things that are as of now public, because it was the votes were taken in open session by the IC per bylaw 7 section 15, article 7 section 15, are the charges and specifications.
And those are public at this point.
Correct. And then the resolutions and then the report adoption,
Okay.
not the report itself. So everything from page, so if you're looking at the underlined section charges and specifications from page 28 now.
Got it. Okay. Our secretary is not here, so I'm gonna do a screen share. Mr. Malagon, do you mind recording votes for me as temporary secretary? And then I'll run the thing.
Not at all, Madam Chair. Give me
Thank
one.
you. Okay. All right. Our first motion is gonna be resolve that when the meeting adjourns, it adjourns to Saturday, November 9th, 2024 at 1 p.m. Eastern to be held virtually. I'm moving it, but it needs a second.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Nana?
I would like to amend that to 5 p.m. on the same day.
Okay, any objections? And everybody else, make sure you're muted. Any objections to moving it to 5 p.m.? Okay, hearing none, it's moved to 5 p.m.
Madam Chair, would you like me to take the roll as well?
Yeah, we'll do a roll call vote. We're not gonna have discussion on any of these, so we're just gonna go straight to a vote on this top line. When the meeting adjourns, it adjourns to Saturday.
Okay, I'm going to do it in order on the LNC website, which is not alphabetical order, so apologies. Mr. Rutherford?
Yes.
Mr. Redpath?
I'm going to vote no, but I want to explain my vote. It's only because that is an extremely inconvenient date for me. That is the reason for my no vote.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Watkins?
Sorry, the mute button wasn't working. Yes.
Mr. Bost?
Yes.
Mr. Nikela?
Yes.
Mr. Vinson?
Yes.
Ms. Yanuskavich?
If we don't hear from her, Ms. Yanuskevich, I think you might be muted, and if you're not, we'll come back to her.
We'll skip Ms. Yanuskevich for now. We'll go Mr. Heyman,
Yes.
Mr. Garcia,
Yes.
Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. Nana.
Yes.
This will be easier once I type everyone out. Mr. Dar, okay. Miss Hayes,
Yes.
Morning.
Mr.
Morning.
Downing, not hearing from Mr. Dassing. We'll move on to Mr. Ford.
Yes.
Okay, and we'll go back to Miss Yanuskevich. Mr. Dassing.
I vote yes. I
Mr.
also see that Ms. Yanuskevich left the meeting.
She just rejoined.
Oh, okay, good.
Ms. Yanuskevich, we are voting on adjourning the meeting to resume on November 9th. Is that right? November
Yes.
9th at 5 p.m. EDT.
Yep.
Ms.
Okay.
Yanuskevich, how do you vote?
I vote yes.
Okay, so Madam Chair, the vote is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Did we grab Mr. Dassing's vote? He's back.
11, 12, 13. Yes.
We voted yes.
It's 13 to 2 to 0 to 1.
All right, thank you. The next motion we're going is charge 1, specification 2. I'm intentionally skipping specification 1. If you guys choose to revisit it, you can move that at some point during this meeting.
Madam Chair, do you wish to vote on the previous motion or do you wish to abstain?
No, chair's not voting, motion passes.
Okay.
Specification 2, and that Ms. Karen Ann Harless failed to follow the legitimate instructions of the Libertarian National Committee Chair by filing paperwork regarding the presidential candidate exclusive of the electors with the Colorado Secretary of State, LP Bylaws, Article 6.5.
And that's charge 1, specification 2 to be.
Correct. This does not include specification 1. It needs a second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. McGee. There's no discussion on this motion. It was done in executive session. Mr. Rutherford, how do you vote?
Abstain.
Mr. Redpath?
Abstain.
Ms. Harless is not here. Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Mr. Bost?
Yes.
Mr. Nikela?
Yes.
Mr. Vinson?
Yes.
Ms. Yanuskevich?
Yes.
Mr. Heyman?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia?
Yes.
Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Nana?
Abstain.
I'm sorry, was that abstain?
It was.
Mr. Dar? Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Dassing?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
The vote is 11 to 0 to 3. How do you wish to vote, Madam Chair?
Chair's not voting, the motion passes.
I'm sorry, it was 11 to 0 to 3 to 1. Okay. All right, that's good.
Okay. We're gonna move to adopt charge 1, gross misconduct in office.
Does that need a second?
Yep.
Second.
Okay, give me 1 second. Sorry.
All right, whenever you're ready.
Mr. Russ,
I'm sorry, are we voting on specification 1 or charge 1?
it's
Charge
charge one as
one.
a whole now.
Charge-
We skipped over specification 1. We just went to charge 1 specification 2. Now it's charge 1 as a whole.
All right.
Mr. Rutherford, how do you vote?
Abstain.
Mr. Redpath?
Abstain.
Ms. Harless is not here. Mr. Watkins, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Bost?
Yes.
Mr. Nikela?
Yeah.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes.
Ms. Yanuskevich?
Yes.
Mr. Heyman?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia?
Yes.
Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Nana?
No.
Mr. Dar? Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Dassing?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
Madam Chair, the vote is it is 10 to 2 to 2.
Okay, the motion passes. Chair's not voting.
Okay.
Okay, on the next one, under charge 2, I'm gonna move that we adopt specifications 1, 2, and 3.
I
Of
don't think
charge-
we
I
can't do
don't-
them.
If we
can't
could
do
ask the
them together.
parliamentarian if we could do that. This is a point of order.
Point of order, well, let me ask him.
You can with unanimous consent. Any member may demand a vote on a separate one.
All right, then we'll do them one by one. Moved that we adopt specification 1 of charge 2.
Second.
Okay,
All right. So, oh, sorry. Give me just a second. Mr. Rutherford? How do you vote on charge 2, specification 1?
I vote no.
Mr. Redpath?
No.
Ms. Harless is not here. Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Mr. Bost?
Yes.
Mr. Nikela?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes.
Ms. Yanuskevich?
Yes.
Mr. Heyman?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia?
Yes.
Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Nana?
Abstain.
Mr. Dar? Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Dassing?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
Madam Chair, the vote is it is 11 to 3 to 1.
okay. The motion passes. Chair's not voting. Move to adopt specification 2 of charge 2. Needs a second.
Second.
Okay. When Mr. Malagon's ready.
This is charge 2, specification 2. Mr. Rutherford, how do you vote?
Abstain.
Mr. Redpath?
Abstain.
Ms. Harless is not here. Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Mr. Bost?
Yes.
Mr. Nikela?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes.
Ms. Yanuskevich?
Yes.
Mr. Heyman?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia?
Yes.
Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Nana?
Yes.
Mr. Dar? Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Dassing?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
Madam Chair, the vote is it is 12 to 0 to 3. That's correct, I think. Yeah, 12 to 0 to 3.
All right, motion passes. Chair's not voting. Next, move to adopt specification 3 of charge 2. Needs a second.
Second.
Okay. Mr. Malagon, when you're ready.
Mr. Rutherford, on charge 2, specification 3, how do you vote?
Abstain.
Mr. Redpath?
Abstain.
Ms. Harless is not here. Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Mr. Bost?
Yes.
Mr. Nikela?
Yes.
Mr. Vinson?
Yes.
Ms. Yanuskavich?
Yes.
Mr. Heyman?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia?
Yes.
Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Nana?
Yes.
Mr. Dar? Ms. Hayes? I'm sorry, one more time.
Yes.
Mr. Dassing?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
Madam Chair, the vote is 12 to 0 to 3.
Okay, the motion passes. Chair's not voting. We have 2 more of these, I think, to get through. Next is the following resolution. Resolved that from the time official notification of this resolution is delivered to Ms. Karen.
Point of order. Point of order. Charge 2 has to be adopted as a whole.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You're correct. Thank you. Move to adopt charge 2 as a whole. Or move to adopt charge 2.
Second.
That is the language. Just move to adopt charge 2. And Mr. McGee seconded.
Okay. We'll start at the top again. Mr. Rutherford, how do you vote on charge 2 as a whole?
Abstain.
Mr. Redpath?
Abstain.
Ms. Harless is not here. Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Mr. Bost?
Yes.
Mr. Nikela?
Yes.
Mr. Vinson?
Yes.
Ms. Yanuskavich?
Yes.
Mr. Heyman?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia?
Yes.
Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Nana?
Yes.
Mr. Dar? Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Dassing?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
Madam Chair, the vote is, I believe it's 12 to 0 to 3.
All right, the motion passes. Chair's not voting. Okay, now we're going to get to the resolution. I think there's 2 more, including this one. Resolve that from the time official notification of this resolution is delivered to Ms. Karen Ann Harlow's address until disposition of this case, all of Ms. Karen Ann Harlow's authority, rights, and duties pertaining to the office of secretary and of all Libertarian Party committees are suspended.
Point of order. Point of order. That is the wrong order. The resolution to appear comes first.
I believe Mr. McGee is correct.
All right, thank you, Mr. McGee.
All right. So
Resolved. This one right here.
Yes.
Charges and specifications. Okay, thank you, Mr. McGee. I'm going to move the following resolution. Resolve that Ms. Karen Ann Harless is hereby cited to appear at said adjourned meeting for trial to show cause why she should not be removed from the office of secretary on the following charges and specifications.
Mr. Rutherford, how do you vote?
Wait,
Yeah.
we need a second.
Sorry.
Hold on.
I'll second that.
Who was that?
Seconded by Mr. McGee.
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead.
Apologies. Mr. Rutherford, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Redpath?
I'll vote yes.
Ms. Harless is not here. Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Mr. Bost?
Yes.
Mr. Nikela?
Yes.
Mr. Vinson?
Yes.
Ms. Yanuskavich?
Yes.
Mr. Heyman?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia?
Yes.
Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Nana?
Yes.
Mr. Dar? Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Dassing?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
Madam Chair, the vote is, I believe it's 15 to 0 to 0 to 1.
All right, the motion passes. Chair is not voting. Okay, now we're gonna get to the final one.
There's two more, actually.
Two more, you're right. And I see them right there. Okay, resolved that. Which one do you want me to do first, guys?
I'm sorry, scroll down just
You're
a
the
bit.
chair, you lead the meeting.
It has to be the first one. So that one that you're on right now.
Okay.
That one and then the last one.
Resolve that from the time official notification of this resolution is delivered to Ms. Karen Ann Harlow's address until disposition of this case, all of Ms. Karen Ann Harlow's authority, rights, and duties pertaining to the office of secretary and of all Libertarian Party committees are suspended. A quick note on that is suspension. It is not removal. It is not removal.
And this will require 2/3 of the voting in present.
Yep. Mr. Nikela?
Yes, thank you. I would like to see if I could amend this to exclude the Historical Preservation Committee from the list of committees that Ms. Harless will be suspended from because of her location in Colorado and her work on the committee. I do believe she's needed for that committee to function.
Second, if that was a motion, if that was a move to amend.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not objecting in the interest of time. Any objections? Okay, going once, going twice. Hearing none, the amendment is adopted and it'll become part of the main motion now. So now let me rephrase it. Resolve that from the time official notification of this resolution is delivered to Ms. Karen Ann Harlow's address until disposition of the case, all of Ms. Karen Ann Harlow's authorities, rights, and duties pertaining to the office of secretary and of all Libertarian Party committees except the Historical Preservation Committee are suspended.
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Malagon, whenever you're ready.
Mr. Rutherford?
No.
Mr. Redpath?
No.
Ms. Harless is not here. Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Mr. Bost?
Yes.
Mr. Nikela?
Pass.
Mr. Vinson?
Yes.
Ms. Yanuskavich?
Yes.
Mr. Heyman?
Yes.
Mr. Garcia?
Yes.
Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Nana?
No.
Mr. Dar? Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Dassing?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
And we're back to Mr. Nikela.
I'll vote no.
Yeah.
So that is 10
How's she gonna get in the garage without a key?
19.
to
Sorry, go ahead.
3, 4, 5. 10 to 5 to 0 to 1.
I will vote yes. That makes it 2/3. The motion passes.
It's 11 to 5. Okay.
Mr. Nana?
Oh, sorry, I got bumped into mute. It's a point of inquiry. Does it require 2/3 of those voting or 2/3 of the committee?
It's 2/3 of those present and voting.
Thank you very much.
Now, our parliamentarian assists its majority. I was under the impression it was 2/3 of those voting and present.
Wait, for the temporary suspension, I believe that was 2/3, if I'm not mistaken.
I did too, but
It was a majority. It was a majority.
there we go. Okay, I was gonna say regardless, we made the threshold.
Apologies.
Okay, so let me jump to the last one because I know a lot of people are anxious to get off this call. Resolve that Mr. Jonathan McGee act as the manager for the Libertarian National Committee. This is regarding a trial. This is not a staff position. And it takes a second.
Second.
Okay. Pass it back to Mr. Malagon.
Madam Chair, Mr. Rutherford,
Yes.
Mr. Redpath,
I'm sorry, are we voting on Jonathan McGee here?
as the manager for the trial, correct?
I'll abstain.
Ms. Harlos is not here. Mr. Watkins,
Yes.
Mr. Bost, we'll pass on Mr.
Yes.
Bost. Oh, all right.
Yes.
Mr. Michaela,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Ms. Yanuskavich,
Yes.
Mr. Heyman,
Yes.
Mr. Garcia,
Yes.
Mr. McGee,
Abstain.
Mr. Nana,
Yes.
Mr. Dar, Ms. Hayes,
Yes.
Mr. Dassing,
Yes.
Mr. Ford.
Yes.
Madam Chair, the vote is it is 13 to 0 to 2.
Okay, the motion passes. All right, this,
Madam Chair, I have a quick question.
yes.
Is this report need to be voted to be released? Will it be released? Should it be released?
Let me think.
So, Madam Chair, I have two quick suggestions, if I may, and the parliamentarian can correct me if I'm wrong.
Mr. Malagon, and then if there's no objection, we'll hear from Mr. Jacobs.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we don't have to do it now in the interest of time. I guess we could, but then I believe that we still do need to at least address the policy manual amendment to allow whoever you appoint to send the certification out for
Yep.
the. So that's the most pressing thing. We could do both of them, I suppose, right now if everyone is ready to go, and we've already had discussion on both. So it should be just two more quick votes, but if I'm wrong, the parliamentarian can jump in.
No, you can do both. Can you hear me?
I
Yes.
can hear you.
Good. You can do both of those. But you can also, you probably should take a vote on releasing the report or adopting the report. I think the bylaws basically require it.
That's
Whether you're happy or not with that.
Point of inquiry, Mr. Jacobs, can we move to adopt the report without releasing it yet? Because I thought that
yeah. Yeah.
I thought that Ms. Harlow's got a chance to object to its release based off of its content.
So what so these are all really good questions. I'm going to suggest that we do a couple of things and then we can word the motion in the correct way, which is adopt the report and release it pending discussion with the secretary and legal counsel.
That would work.
There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna move we adopt the investigative committee's report and release it pending discussion with our secretary and legal counsel.
Okay.
Second.
Okay.
By Mr. Watkins. So
Let me write it down just so I have my language. Okay, go ahead whenever you're ready.
I assume that everyone understands what we're voting on. It's adoption pending adoption of the IC report pending discussion with Ms. Harlos and legal counsel. Mr. Rutherford, how do you vote?
Pass.
Okay.
Mr. Redpath?
I'm sorry, clarification. What is the motion we're voting on?
I move that we adopt the report and release it pending discussion with our secretary and legal counsel. So what that means is we are not putting out the report that we just discussed in executive session until we notify Ms. Harlos and she has an opportunity to object, ask us to redact it, or say fire away.
Okay, I'll vote yes. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's a yes, Mr. Redpath?
That was a yes.
Ms. Harlos is not here. Mr. Watkins?
Yes.
Mr. Bost?
Yes.
Mr. Nikela?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
Yes.
Ms. Yanuskavich?
Yes.
Mr. Heyman?
Yeah, yes.
Mr. Garcia,
Yes.
Mr. McGee,
Yes.
Mr. Nana,
Yes.
Mr. Dar, Miss Hayes,
Yes.
Mr. Dassing,
Yes.
Mr. Ford.
Yes.
Madam Chair, I believe it's unanimous at this point. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Rutherford.
Abstain.
So just to make sure, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 14 to 0 to 1.
All right, thank you. The motion passes.
The chair will not vote on this motion.
Chair is not voting. Thank you. Just pulling up my agenda, which I briefly lost when my computer crashed earlier. Ballot Access Committee update, Mr. Nana. Do you want to give that? Do you want to?
Yeah, I mean,
Point
I
of
can
order,
give
I think we need to pass the policy manual amendment.
Yes, but the Ballot Access Committee update is technically next, so
Oh, my apologies.
yeah, I'm asking.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me screen share this. Could you make it like a really short update?
Yes, I'm going to give a brief oral update. The Ballot Access Committee really doesn't have much work left other than to refine our best practices document. I had already asked, I believe I asked you how to access that report because I don't know where it is anymore since the switch from Google. And then you said the secretary had access, so I asked the secretary for access. So um, I, I don't know who has access now that she's temporarily suspended, I guess.
We will
So
hunt it down.
yeah, if somebody can get that to me, we can finish that document. That's really all we have on the docket between now and the end of our term, unless something else comes up. But we have ballot access in every state other than Illinois, Tennessee, and New York. And those 3 states we are on as a write-in. So that's pretty much the update.
Got it. All right, thank you. Okay, so let's jump to policy manual amendments. I have, I think, one. Do I have both of them here? Oh, here we go. This is 1.014. Mr. McGee, would you like to speak to your motion?
Yes, this is to amend the policy manual to allow specific specifications for the process if a secretary is charged to deliver it to the secretary. Generally, it's the secretary's job to deliver charges or a report, and our policy manual is ambiguous about that. Furthermore, it's also to specifically specify in writing that the secretary is what sort of counsel. First of all, that counsel is, a right and will be followed, and second of all, to just specify that they do have to be members of the party, and that managers also have to as well. It's really fairly straightforward to make sure that due process is protected.
Got it. Does anybody have any questions about this?
I move to amend by adding the letter A before sustaining.
There's already.
Where is that?
Oh, no, he's correct. The second instance at the bottom. No, Mr. Redpath is correct.
Shall be, okay. Well, that's a scrivener's error, but thank you. I don't think we need to make an amendment, but it's noted that we'll update that. Any other catches?
Was that seconded?
It's not seconded yet. It needs a second.
Second.
Okay.
Second.
There you go. It's been moved and seconded. Any objections? Okay, hearing no objections, this policy manual amendment is adopted. Can you write that down for me, Adrian, since I'm screen sharing?
Yes, ma'am.
It was moved by McGee. It was seconded by, I think, Andrew Watkins and someone else.
And accepted without objection.
It was adopted without objection.
Okay, done.
Oh boy, here comes the fun one. Okay, who noticed this one?
I believe that was Mr. Heyman.
Okay, go right ahead, Mr.
Yeah, that was me that noticed that. But I did so on behalf of Mr. Chatterton, so I'm going to let him speak to this.
Okay.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me okay? Assuming so. This motion is noticed as described at the beginning, to remove the public list for discussion, debate, and encourage substantive business, requiring debate to be done in meetings. As most people are aware, we had a board training at the in-person meeting in August. And in that meeting, one of the tenets of the training was specifically that business is not optimally conducted over email, particularly when requiring substantive debate. Email not being a forum that provides for good conduction of business, because you're not in real-time discussion. You cannot infer people's meaning and reading the room, etc. So the purpose for this motion, as described in the rationale at the bottom, is that it would discourage substantive motions from being done over email and encourage the use of meetings for that, regular, whether our monthly meetings or otherwise. So the substance of the motion is to make a couple of amendments. First of all, the subsection 4 under section 1.02 of meetings, entitled open emails, would be stricken. This section currently requires that any emails between all members of the board be made public. The additional changes are also part of section 102 in the current subsection, 7 electronic mail ballots. In that section, it describes that process for conducting meetings, and the second sentence of this says that the notification shall not include an accompanying argument for or against passage of the motion, though subsequent posting with votes may contain debate. The proposed change is to strike the second half of that sentence, though subsequent postings with votes may contain debate, to provide for opportunities where unforeseen circumstances might arise, or where the general need of the body does necessitate an email ballot, and there might be a case where a more substantive motion may occur on a case by case. There is provided for a new subsection in that same section for electronic mail ballots to be inserted as a new subsection 2, that electronic mail ballots shall be limited to voting only. This rule can be suspended at the request of a committee member, absent the objection of more than 1/3 of the committee being sent in reply to the request. Objections must be sent within 48 hours of the request for debate within the electronic mail ballot. If the 48 hours elapse without sufficient objection, then debate shall be allowed for that ballot. So that basically follows the normal practice of 2/3 required to suspend a rule. So therefore, if you have objections to the suspension by more than 1/3, that becomes therefore impossible. And that basically provides for the case that if this needs to go forward, then that option is available. Otherwise, if there is not objections, it will result in automatic approval.
All right, I see Mr. Nana's hand is up.
Yeah. So I agree with I agree with the rationale here and agree with the intended purpose somewhat. I would like to amend the motion.
Okay.
I would like to amend it as such. I would like to strike I would like to strike the words starting with strike and ending in subsections, which reads strike subsection for open emails and renumber following subsections.
All right, hold
And
on.
then this
You
might
gotta-
this might be an amendment by substitution, but I'll let you rule on it. And then I would also like to add a new sentence in the new text portion after the first sentence that reads, a separate debate thread shall be created for all email ballots.
Okay, hold on. I'm so sorry, but I'm gonna make you start over so I can edit this thing in real time because I don't have the Word doc.
You let me know when you're ready. That's not a problem.
Strike through text just disappeared, of course. Okay, where am I striking?
So right there where your little cursor is, that whole sentence.
Strike where it says strike subsection 4 or start with open emails?
Strike that whole bullet point.
Okay.
Fancy.
Okay.
And then add an additional sentence in the new text portion that's in blue down there.
Okay.
And a subsequent, and it'll let me know when you're ready.
Dang it. All right, ready.
A subsequent debate thread shall be started for all email ballots.
Oh, that's too big.
Or electronic mail, I guess it should be.
A subsequent debate thread.
Shall be started.
Okay. Okay.
For all electronic mail ballots. And then I would like to speak to my amendment.
All right, go right ahead.
So I'm trying to kind of cut the middle here because, as mentioned, I do agree that we talk too much on the list about non-substantive things. We get bogged down in arguing with each other. The public doesn't really need to see that. I wish people could just show restraint and not do it, but apparently they can't. So I also think that if we choose to have discussion, it should be open to the public. And if we want to have discussion that's not open to the public, we can always text each other, call each other, whatever. I hope that we do that. And then my rationale for the second part is that I actually agree that the email ballots should not be cluttered with debate. It makes it hard to keep track of voting or where people stand or anything else, and takes away from the voting, experience, I guess, from the rest of us. So having a separate debate thread, and perhaps separate instead of subsequent should be the word, but whatever. We'll make it so that if you want to have debate on an email ballot, that's cool. You can do that, but it won't clutter up the voting. So, if I'm undecided on an issue, I can go to the debate thread. Maybe I'll be swayed, maybe I won't, maybe I want to put my 2 cents in, but I don't have to do so on the ballot where people are trying to figure out how somebody is voting. And it'll also make it easier for the public to keep track of votes because they can just simply look at one thread and say, okay, my rep voted this way, or my rep has yet to vote. Maybe I should talk to them, so on and so forth. And I think I adequately described my position, so that's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nana. I think we should probably hear from, Mr. Malagon has his hand up, and then I'm just going to call Mr. Chatterton.
I just have a quick question for Mr. Nana, if it's all right, Madam Chair. Is this amendment, so would the debate be public? Is that what I'm understanding?
Debate would be public in a separate thread from the voting thread, correct?
Okay, that's my clarification. Thank you.
It's better than what we have now. Mr. Chatterton?
I wanted to ask, I guess, first of all, if the amendment was seconded.
It was not, and I was going to point that out.
I'll second.
So if still recognized, I would like to speak against the amendment.
Yes, real quick, Mr. Malagon, can you write for me that it was the
Seconded
amendment
by
was
Ms. Barcraft, is that right?
moved by Nana and seconded by Paul Dar?
Oh,
And
darn.
then Mr. Chatterton, sorry, jump back in.
All right, thank you. So I appreciate the feedback on that, and I do hear the concerns with that. I do believe that particularly the consideration to make it a general always the case that it's still the public discussion on that, I believe undermines the core effort of the motion to encourage that we do such business in meetings. My hope is that in case we have substantive motions like this that do require the vote, the burden would be on us to hold that in a meeting and move forward and discuss that business at length as necessary. And that would still maintain the full transparency to the membership, and it would encourage more constructive and productive debate of these ideas. As a potential counter proposal, I don't intend to make the motion, but I offer it for consideration. I believe that it would be more in line with fulfilling both that concern as well as the concern raised by Mr. Nana about cluttering up voting threads. I think the amendment to the new subsection at the bottom could still be taken that if voting is approved in those cases, that the debating be done in a separate debate thread while still maintaining the case that we are discouraging that from being the norm by striking the open email portion and proceeding with it that way, but I don't offer any amendment to that, just speaking on the point.
Thank you. Mr. Nana?
Yeah, I think I appreciate the friendly debate. I think that, like I said, what I would like to see is us just be adults. Apparently, it's not possible. So I don't think that because we can't act like adults, we should put in the policy manual that the public can't see what we're talking about. I guess to quote, I think the chair, and if I'm misquoting her, I'm sorry, sort yourselves out. This should not be necessary. And the fact that we think it is quite telling.
No comment. Mr. Dar? Thank you very much. Any other discussion on the amendment? Okay. The threshold to pass this is 2/3 of those present and voting or a majority of entire LNC.
I get to proceed, Madam Chair?
Yes, please. Thank you very much.
All right. Everyone understands what we're voting on. This is the policy manual amendment the amendment to the main motion made by Mr. Nana, seconded by Mr. Dar. Mr. Rutherford, how do you vote?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Well, I was going to make a point of, I guess, parliamentary inquiry. I believe the amendment, feel free to correct me, would be simple majority. Then the main motion, if we fell back, regardless of what it was, would be the threshold you mentioned.
Fair enough. Your point.
I'm sorry. I thought that's what I heard the chair say, but
point is well taken. It's a majority to adopt the amendment.
Okay. Apologies. Mr. Rutherford, that was a yes.
Yes.
Mr. Redpath?
Yes.
Ms. Harless is not here. Mr. Watkins?
No.
Mr. Bost?
Yes.
Mr. Nikela?
Yes.
Mr. Vincent?
No.
Ms. Yanuskavich is not here anymore. Excuse me, sorry. Mr. Heyman?
I'm going to vote no.
Mr. Garcia had to step out, so Mr. Chatterton is now seated. Mr. Chatterton?
I'll vote no on the amendment.
Mr. McGee?
Pass.
Mr. Nana,
Yes.
Mr. Dar, Ms. Hayes,
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was muted. Pass, please.
Mr. Dassing,
No.
Mr. Ford,
Dane.
so right now we are going back to Mr. McGee,
No.
Ms. Hayes,
No.
I don't believe this passes, but it's at 6 to. Sorry, 1, 2, 3,
Did Mr. Ford vote?
5. Yes, he abstained.
Ah.
5, 6. So it's 6 to 6 to 1. So the motion. Oh, I guess it. Let me just double.
The chair would either need to vote or not vote, I would assume.
6. So that's 6 ayes. Let me go with nays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. So it's 6 to 6 to 1 at the moment, Madam Chair. You would be the deciding vote.
That's high as a failure, correct?
Yeah,
sorry?
tie is a
Yeah, so
failure.
if the chair does not vote, the motion would fail. If the chair votes in favor, it would pass. If the chair votes against, it would fail.
I think I am going to vote against so that I can move to reconsider later. I'm
Okay,
gonna vote against it.
so the motion fails 6 to 7 to 1 to 0. And now we're at the main motion, Madam Chair. And I believe Mr. Nikela has his hand up.
Yes, I would like to make an amendment for a subsequent debate thread shall be started for all electronic mail ballots at the beginning of the additional text.
Well,
wouldn't that be?
We're back to the main. Well, I'm not chairing this meeting. I'm sorry.
Guys, okay, hold on.
I think that would be kind of a compromise, and at least if we do have a debate, we can still get a separate ballot.
All right, so where we're at now is the amendment failed. I had the deciding vote, but explained why. And I'm sure Mr. Nana can suss out what I'm doing there. We're on to the main motion, and that would basically be see if I can control Z my way out of here. This part would not be the subsection 4 part would not be stricken, and this new text would not be would not have been added down here. Did you guys want to debate the main motion? Okay, then we can just go to a vote.
Okay, 1 second.
Can I say something quick?
Yes.
Mr. Oh,
I very much appreciate what Mr. Nana was trying to do. I voted no just because the list is such a dumpster fire. I'm taking to heart what we learned in our training in Miami, that we really should try to do serious business at meetings rather than over email, where so much of what human communication is just lost since it's just text. And that's the only reason I voted it down and why I'm going to vote for this motion. Thank you.
yeah, I'll just say really quickly that I do appreciate Mr. Nana's amendment, what he was trying to do. It kind of defeats the purpose to do have the same dumpster fire, but in a different thread. But I appreciate the rationale behind it. Madam Chair, may I proceed with the vote?
Yes, please.
Just
So this is
point
on
of
the
order,
main-
could you please read I apologize, could you just read the amendment? I'm not, sorry, not the amendment, the actual proposal.
Oh man, it's so long.
It,
It's on the screen.
it's on the screen.
at 70 miles an hour on a Samsung S24.
Okay, hold on. Mr. Chatterton,
Yes.
can you speak to the changes in your motion again, and then we're gonna go
Yes, I can summarize it quickly. So, the first change would be to strike the current section, subsection 4 of 102 meetings for open emails. That would abolish the requirement to publicly publish all emails between all members of the LNC. We would additionally amend subsection 7 for electronic email ballots to remove the text, those subsequent postings with votes may contain debate, and create the new subsection that the electronic mail ballots shall be limited to voting only. This rule can be suspended at the request of a committee member, absent the objection of more than 1/3 of the committee being sent in reply to the request. Objections must be sent within 48 hours of the request for debate within the electronic mail ballot. If the 48 hours elapse without sufficient objections, then the debate shall be allowed for that ballot.
Mr. Ford, do you know how subsection 4 open emails reads? Since you were unable to look right now, because I had to open a separate screen because that part's actually not on the screen.
I have that text available or if you also do.
Mr. Ford, did you pull that up while you're driving and drinking Panera Bread coffee and eating with the other hand?
Absolutely. I mean, I multitask all the time. I was taking a nap until this came up, but just kidding.
Shall I read the subsection
Okay.
4 text?
Okay, guys. Mr. Ford, do you want Mr. Chatterton to read a little bit more?
Yes, please.
Okay, go right ahead, Mr. Chatterton.
So subsection 4 that would be stricken is that it's titled open emails. Email discussion involving the entire LNC shall take place on a publicly accessible read-only email list with the exception of items that qualify for executive session. Those discussions shall take place on a separate email list specially designed for that purpose. An announcement of each new discussion of the executive session shall be made on the public list by the secretary, including the justification for having the discussion in executive session. Beginning and end dates of those discussions will be noted in the secretary's report to the LNC. That section would be stricken with this change.
All right. Does everybody understand what we're voting on now?
Yep.
Beautiful. All right, Mr. Malagon, when you're ready, we will proceed to a roll call vote. This time it is 2/3 or a major 2/3 of those who are present in voting, or a majority of the entire LNC.
I believe it's 2/3 of those present and voting, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah. Mr. Rutherford, how do you vote on the main motion?
Pass.
Mr. Redpath?
No.
Mr. Watkins? Pass. I will pass on Mr.
Hello?
Oh, there he is.
Sorry, my mic messed up. Yes.
Mr. Bost? We will pass on Mr. Bost for now.
Unfortunately, yes.
Okay. Mr. Nikela?
Yes.
Mr. Vinson?
Yes.
Ms. Scavenge is not here. Mr. Heyman?
I vote yes.
Mr. Chatterton?
I vote yes.
Mr. McGee?
Yes.
Mr. Nana?
No.
Mr. Dar? Ms. Hayes?
Yes.
Mr. Dassing?
Yes.
Mr. Ford?
Yes.
I believe it is 10-3. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Rutherford. Rutherford.
I'm voting no.
Okay. So it is 10-4. Madam Chair, I believe the motion passes either way. Would you care to vote?
No, the motion passes and I am not voting.
Okay. All right. So Okay. So it's 10 to 4 to 0 to 1.
All right. Motion passes. We need to work on a policy manual. Let's give Mr. Malagon a break because he just did a whole bunch of reports. I need a policy manual volunteer. Mr. Nana?
I don't know that I'm volunteering, but the committee, just for edification of everybody here, the committee suggested simply reinserting the language that we had before. So this might not, I mean, we can always appoint a committee, but that was our kind of sort of recommendation, at least to start. And then maybe if we needed to change it a little bit, but reinserting the previous language is kind of where I'm at.
For edits to the policy manual, updating it?
Yeah, in terms of cause for removal. Now, I don't know if you're talking about a whole project for the whole manual.
No, there were just some additional changes, like right now.
Oh,
You
well,
showed your
never
hand,
mind.
Mr. Bennett. You're talking about something
It's
else.
okay. It's okay. We'll sort it out later. No big deal. All right. What is left on the agenda? Okay, so
There's one more
right.
policy amendment, I believe, on the made by Mr. McGee.
Is there another policy manual proposal?
I believe it was the one on streaming.
Mr. Keith Thompson has his hand up. Mr. Thompson? Okay. Mr. McGee, is there another policy manual amendment? And if not, we can do it in an email motion. I don't hear Mr. McGee.
I actually don't see it listed
Okay.
on the agenda.
Okay. If you need to move it, then you can, I think, do it on the list.
All right.
And approval of August minutes is on here, and I was not inclined to approve them as they were. Do we want to have a big fight over that right now?
I mean, the only objection, Madam Chair, that I had to them was the hyperbole. I mean, starting from the creation of the IC. I think the LNC has seen. I'm not going to make the motion. I can't, but I would say that the meeting minutes, I reviewed the recording twice, so the only thing I would move to adopt would be in whatever the latest version the secretary sent out previously, just removing everything from the formation of the committee and replacing it with the minutes that are in the IC report, and just kind of swapping those out. I don't think it needs to be a whole big thing, but it's up to the LNC to decide.
Can we do it later?
Yeah, there's no rush on my part.
Okay. Anybody else? Thoughts on minutes? We've been going for almost, a lot of hours.
So I'm
Okay.
sorry, so what's the action on the minutes, if any?
None.
Thank
None
you.
right
Kick the
now.
can down the road.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, if that's it, then there's only one thing left to do.
Move to adjourn.
Thank
Second.
you, Mr. Redpath. Seconded by, who was that? Mr. McGee or Mr. Vincent?
Mr. McGee.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Malagon, can you take a note of that real quick?
Yes, I'm doing that now. And if Madam Chair would be so kind to send me the recording just so I can double check.
Yep, I will do that. All right, it's been moved and seconded to adjourn. Any objections? Hearing none, we are adjourned at 10:16 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, everyone. We will get notice out for the November meeting. I intend to cancel the special meeting that we had set in November and set a different date for a budget meeting, but I'm going to work with Ms. Yanuskavich and our treasurer and assistant treasurer on that. Have a good night.